Hi and welcome to the KWM Wine Blog. Today we're going to be trying the Marques de Caceres Crianza Rioja from the 2011 vintage. It's a 100% Tempranillo, and interestingly enough they have Tempranillo on the label nowadays as opposed to just being Rioja Crianza. And I guess that's just a marketing move with today's climate in mind, where people like to know the great varieties that are in their wines, and Rioja doesn't normally tell you that on the label, so it's a bit of a modernist Rioja approach, I suppose. So it's a classic Rioja from Marques de Caceres. Crianza, meaning it's met certain standards in order to be classified as that. So that means it has aged for at least 6 months in bottle, or sorry, 6 months in oak and at least a year in bottle prior to release. Reserves, it has to be a year in oak, and Grand Reserve is 2 years in oak, and then 2 and 3 years respectively before it can get those classifications. So colour wise it's sort of more on the medium body, depth wise it's quite bright ruby on the rim but turning into that garnet, so it's just around the 4 years old mark at this point, so it's starting to develop its colour a little bit to show its age, but it still looks relatively fresh. On the nose, it's delivering a lot of like sort of sweet black and red fruit flavours, like little black and red sweets you used to get, that kind of thing. A little bit of licorice in there and a bit of creamy notes coming through from the oak on this wine as well. So yeah, very appealing nose. Tannins are still quite tight on it, quite grainy, quite dry. This is a wine which is for food immediately on the palate. It just tells you that. Once you put it with food, those tannins will all soften out. But it's still quite young, quite woody tannins, so there's quite a lot of life in this wine yet. It'll be drinking easily for the next 3 to 5 years, no problem. The fruit carries it all through, and it finishes reasonably well. It's never going to be the most wonderful of Riojas that Marques de Caceres do, but it's their staple and it's popular for a reason, and it's got all the stuff in there that you want in a Crianza Rioja. The fruit, the oak notes, and reasonably well balanced. Will suit red meat dishes, stews, casseroles, things like that. It'll go down particularly well. So that is Marques de Caceres Crianza Rioja from the 2011 vintage, and remember, kwmwine.com, the place where taste matters.